he's walking through Disneyland, and his daughter is sitting next to him, holding his hand, holding her ice cream, not even eating the fucking ice cream. This thing is melting because it was a hot day here in Southern California, and it's just dripping down her hand. And she's just walking, holding this fucking ice cream cone in one hand, holding her father's hand in the other hand, just walking through Disneyland like a little zombie. Like, he thinks in his head, he's checking the box of, oh, I'm doing things for my family. I'm providing for them. I'm giving them these great experiences of Disneyland that they'll never forget. Yeah, they're never going to forget, because this little girl is going to grow up to be an adult and be talking about this exact day to her therapist like 20 years from now about how it was one of the most miserable days of her life.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me.
What's up, freaks? Welcome to another episode of the Steve Eckert Show podcast. And today we are talking about freaking Mickey Mouse, and Disneyland and Disneyland Dads. And I'll explain to you exactly what a Disneyland Dad is in just a second here on the Steve Eckert Show, which you know is a show on how to flip the switch and have a no excuses, badass mindset, guiding you to adapt, overcome, and destroy the obstacles that are preventing your success in your family, your fitness, your business, so that you could stop being a little bitch, get your shit together, and start living life on your own freaking terms. All while you're building your ultimate freak freedom lifestyle. This just means doing things your way. And we are going to talk about the transformations that are needed in men in today's world. And one thing to do is to be just the death of the Disneyland Dad. So what is a Disneyland Dad? Before we even go into what is a Disneyland Dad, I want to just start off with a story at Disneyland to kind of explain to you what a Disneyland Dad is. This is about, 3-4 years ago. We first moved to California. We're walking through Disneyland, going through whatever, the rides and whatever. The kids are pretty small. I don't even know how old they were at the time, maybe 5 and 8 or something like that. And there's this guy we're walking alongside, walking next to while we're going from one ride to the next. And first off, he is out of shape, freaking fat. He's fat. His daughter is probably, 6, 7 years old. Maybe a little younger even. 5, 6, somewhere around there. She's eating an ice cream cone, or has an ice cream cone. I mean, eating the ice cream cone. Pretty full, ice cream. Hot day. And this dude is sitting there holding his daughter's hand. Her ice cream cone is in the other hand. And he's got his phone in his other hand. And he's sitting there on the phone, having like a fucking business meeting or some shit, talking to someone about something, arguing about something, about some time and schedule, something, I don't know, the service, I don't know what he was arguing about. From the conversation, it was obvious he's arguing with like an employee or a team member or something. Probably he's the boss, or maybe the CEO, maybe even the business owner. I don't know what it is, but something like that. He's probably, the way he was talking to this person, he was definitely their boss. And he's arguing about something, about some quality of something, and getting, like, just sounding like a complaining, whining little bitch. And this is while he's walking through Disneyland, and his daughter is sitting next to him, holding his hand, holding her ice cream, not even eating the fucking ice cream. This thing is melting because it was a hot day here in Southern California, and it's just dripping down her hand. And she's just walking, holding this fucking ice cream cone in one hand, holding her father's hand in the other hand, just walking through Disneyland like a little zombie. Like, he thinks in his head, he's checking the box of, oh, I'm doing things for my family. I'm providing for them. I'm giving them these great experiences of Disneyland that they'll never forget. Yeah, they're never going to forget, because this little girl is going to grow up to be an adult and be talking about this exact day to her fucking therapist like 20 years from now about how it was one of the most miserable days of her life. That this dumb fuck is just sitting there on the phone arguing with people at work, doing work, while he's sitting there with his daughter whose ice cream is just dripping down her arm because she's so freaking detached and just not engaged, and her father is just not engaged in this situation and in this experience, in this event. That overall is the picture of a Disneyland Dad. Now, we're not even talking about necessarily in an absent or a father that's not even in the home. That's a different story. a single parent home. First of all, 40% of kids are born into a single parent home. I always say single family home for some reason. A single parent home. 40% of kids are born into a single parent home, first of all. And so that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about a fatherless home. Fatherless home is already the biggest pandemic in this freaking country. The biggest problem in this country is the fatherless home. But that's not necessarily what we're talking about right now. We're talking about an absent father, a father who's in the home but is absent. He is not present. He is that man who's walking through Disneyland. That's why I've termed it the Disneyland Dad. It's the fat, chubby, disengaged motherfucker, the Disneyland Dad. So I want you to picture that as we're talking about this on the rest of this episode, because that's exactly that dude, that fat dude walking through Disneyland with his disengaged with his daughter while he's arguing with someone on the phone. Her ice cream is dripping down her arm. I want you to picture that whole scene throughout this episode where we're talking about that. This is who we're talking about. That is a Disneyland Dad. The guy that also comes home from work after working all day. He leaves for work before the kids even wake up for school, probably. Gets home after the kids are already home from school and been home for a couple hours. Probably gets home barely in time for dinner, if he's even home in time for dinner. And just sits his fat ass on the couch watching some fucking football or some stupid Netflix series, drinking a beer to take the edge off or whatever else, and eating shit, some shit he shouldn't be eating, some unhealthy shit, and then saying, that's family time. He's having family time because he got home from work and now he's in the same building as his family. That ain't motherfucking family time. That's some Disneyland Dad time. That's some bullshit. Or there was a time me and the Russian were out on a date night, and that's every Thursday night, and we're going to some restaurant. But a restaurant, the restaurants that have the bars where people can sit at the bar. So we're sitting at the table, and there's the bar there. And this was like, I don't even know, 5 or 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. This bar was full of men by themselves sitting at the bar. Most in like their little suit, or you could tell their work attire, like they came there after work. So they're already at fucking work all day, and now they're going straight to a bar to go drink some shit. Then they're ordering all the chicken wings and the fries and all the nasty, unhealthy bar food, just digging themselves deeper in a hole of fucking fatness and drinking their beer, and then wondering why they're not having the relationship they want with their family, with their spouse, with their kids. Because the time that they do finally have when they're done at work, they're spending in a fucking bar. And they knew each other, and they knew the bartenders. They all were regulars there. It's like fucking Cheers, where everybody knows your damn name. And then they get home from that and still planning their ass on the fucking couch because now they're just exhausted. They've been out all day. They're worn down. They're beat down. They gave their best energy to the work, to the business world, if that was even a good energy. Usually it's unfulfilled work that the Disneyland Dad is doing. He's doing it just because maybe it pays good and it pays the bills and he can provide for his family. And he thinks that providing is enough. Listen, motherfucker, providing for your family is not enough. That's the entry fee. That's just a barrier of entry to be a father. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Just because you have kids does not make you a fucking father. Just because you're in the building of your house doesn't make you fucking present. You still can be absent even though you're in attendance. In attendance is not fucking present. Sitting there on the couch picking lint out of your fucking big ass belly button is not being present. That is not a present father. And so he burns up all his energy, the little bit of maybe positive, solid energy he has at work, then oozes the rest of whatever's left over at the fucking bar, and then comes home and sits out on the couch and thinks that he's having family time, being a good father or whatever. And these are the percentage of fathers that are even in the home. Not even the fatherless homes. That's a whole nother topic. We're talking about the absent dad that's in the fucking building. The Disneyland Dad that thinks that because he took the daughter to Disneyland, he could sit neglected for those weeks and months every day when he's coming home and he could go to the bar. Oh, we went to Disneyland last month. Motherfucker, what did you do today? You've got to earn the right of a husband and a father and a motherfucking man every day. Like, that is your duty and obligation as a fucking man. Like, this other shit is bullshit. This is like, I don't want to give too much of the movie away because we were just talking about it off camera before we started about the movie Fight Club. This is Edward Norton's character. I don't remember his name in there in Fight Club. I think I've only seen the entire movie once. I've seen parts of it several times. And I was just saying we should go watch that movie just to see it. But this is the character. He was like a soap salesman or whatever the fuck he was, just so unfulfilled with his work, lacking any kind of testosterone or masculinity or fulfillment in his life or satisfaction or happiness, just a fucking zombie of a man, but working hard and really studious about selling that motherfucking soap. And I don't want to go into the details of the movie. I don't want to give it away for the cameraman Tyson because we need to go watch that movie now that we were just talking about it for a little while before we started recording. But that's like the Disneyland Dad, a dude like that who's just so unfulfilled, so unhappy, holding so much inside, keeping it all inside. That's a Disneyland Dad. And he's not a role model. You're not a fucking role model. He has no higher calling or purpose to what he's doing. He's just unfulfilled. And here's the other part of that I've also mentioned in previous episodes, but again, this one's worth mentioning as well, again, is if you are a father, or if you're a man that has kids, it doesn't make you a father. But also, if you have kids, and you're a man that's lacking freaking purpose, and doesn't know what your higher calling is, or your reason, or I can't find my purpose, I'm in search, I'm lost and confused, you're a fucking bag of shit is what you are. Because if you have kids, what more of a purpose do you need? Why are you laughing down there, cameraman? You're lacking purpose. What more do you need? Other than to be a living, breathing example of a role model for these kids. Here's another one that might sting a little bit, and I fucking hope it does. Do you think when your fat ass is just got home, you work all day, you went to the bar after work, you're coming home smelling like fucking alcohol, you're sitting your fast on the couch eating some Cheetos, watching some football game, getting all depressed. I saw there was a Cowboys or some team lost or Lions, I don't even know who. Someone lost and someone won. I think the Cowboys lost in the playoffs. And there was all these videos going around the internet about these Cowboys fans that were just so depressed and screaming and they're giving up on the Cowboys and there's so many years and they're so sick of it. And this one dude was like 400 fucking pounds, just all upset about it, about the Cowboys, like going overboard, like wrecking his own house because the motherfucking Cowboys lost. Like, how stupid is that? Like, how about you stop watching football for 4 hours and go to the damn gym for 4 hours and put down the damn Cheetos? How about that? How about putting that same energy and passion into going to play with your kids, doing some hike with your kids or something, instead of sitting there watching some game and then getting all upset about it, recording and thinking it's funny because you're fat and your football team lost? Like, are you fucking kidding me? That is a Disneyland Dad. Disneyland Dad, if you think about it, what is Disneyland? It's like a fantasy world. They call it the world of, is it the land of make-believe? Is that Disneyland? Something they call the world of make-believe or something like that. It's like a fantasy land. That's what Disneyland Dad is. He's in a fucking fantasy land. He thinks he's being a good father, but he's not. He's a bag of shit. He thinks he's doing his duty and obligation as a man, as a father, and he absolutely is not. Just because he has a paycheck and he's sitting at home for a few hours a night, he's checking the box like, oh, I'm a good father. Providing is not enough, motherfucker. It is just not freaking enough. Who are some examples of this? Think about TV. All you see on TV in movies, in sitcoms, and I'm thinking back since I was a kid and a teenager, like, when's the last time you saw like a strong, positive male role model father in a sitcom or in a movie? It's fucking rare. It is rare. And when there is one, it's always like the divorced father who doesn't see the kids anymore and has to go fly across the country to rescue the kids who are in a snowstorm or the end of the world, the apocalypse. And it's like The Rock has to go jump on a helicopter and save the world after he hasn't seen his kids for like 2 years because they're divorced or something. It's the only time they show it, when he's like broken in other ways. But in general, they're always these weak, soft, feminine pudge balls freaking passing for men. And then they're like the butt of every joke. It's all about making fun of them. Like, that's what you laugh at. You laugh at how pathetic they are, how fat and sloppy and how stupid they are. That's how they portray men in all these. I'm sorry, we're talking about decades ago. Al Bundy, who was just a fucking loser. Yeah, he would get in the fights and do manly shit like going to fights. But overall, it was just a joke jokes about how lazy he was, how bad of a father he was. How much of a loser he was for lack of success, just selling shoes to fat women. That's what he did every episode. That's what it's about. And you get mad about me saying, oh, he sold shoes to fat women. I'm just stating facts about what the show was about. And he was just a loser and just made fun of for being dumb and lazy and unhealthy and not giving a shit. Just a negative, poor attitude. Think of another one, even in the same era, the freaking Homer Simpson. Big, fat, dumb, bald guy. Literally his catchphrase, you know what his catchphrase was, Tyson? Homer Simpson. His catchphrase that he would say probably every episode was dope. That was his answer. Dope. Like, that's all he can come up with. Like, dope. What the fuck is dope? Every sitcom, every movie. We're watching a show now. It's Brandon, what's that kid's name? Sheldon. It's freaking funny, but it's about some genius kid. I guess it's from some modern show, modern sitcom. They now did a prequel showing this kid. He's like a kid genius when he was younger. His father in that is like, they call him Tubby. His wife and his mother-in-law calls him Tubby. And that's just a normal way they talk about him. Everything they say is like a joke about how fat and lazy he is, how he's not a role model to the kids. And that's normal to them. That's normal life to them. Even we just recently watched Breaking Bad. It's a series that's like years old. We finally caught up to it on Netflix. Even Breaking Bad, Mr. Heisenberg, right? But what's his name? Walt in Breaking Bad. The reason why he went so extreme over to Heisenberg, just like think about Fight Club, those alter egos and the other person you want to be, you take it to an extreme. That's why Heisenberg was such an extreme. All he was a weak, soft, suppressed male that kept it all inside as this like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, fucking Mr. Nice Guy till he was 50-something years old, got some cancer, and had a fucking extreme snap and breakdown. And that's why Heisenberg was so fucking ruthless and over the top. The shit that he would do and the shit he would cause to happen right from the beginning is because he was such a bottled up little fucking weak, soft man his entire life, holding it in, building up all this resentment until it was just couldn't control it anymore. And then the cancer was just what put it over the top, the piece of straw that broke the camel's back, and it just fucking explodes on the wrong people in the wrong way to the wrong degree at the wrong freaking time. It's everywhere in TV. There was a guy in one of our programs where he was kind of that stuck in that Mr. Nice Guy role and very lean and not very manly, if you want to say it, but realized he wanted to get in shape, wanted to get bigger and stronger and start doing some fighting and jujitsu and learn how to defend himself and be a protector. And here's the word. He said, yeah, my goal is to get buff. I want to get buff. Like you don't use the word buff. If you're a man, you don't use the word buff. That's what your 7-year-old daughter thinks about her dad who goes to the gym. Oh, my dad's buff. So don't use that's the way that men are thinking they're supposed to be thinking these days. Oh, I want to get buff. Also, don't be a man that says, oh, I'm in a bad mood, or I'm moody, or when they're hangry. A man is hangry. It means he's hungry, so he's mad, so he's hangry. Motherfucker. You know who gets hangry? Homer Simpson. Or Homer Simpson's little daughter gets hangry. Not a fucking man. Or in a bad mood. Or I'm really cranky until I get my coffee in the morning. I'm real cranky. A man doesn't get fucking cranky. A man is not moody. A man doesn't get buff or get hangry. So eliminate that shit from your vocabulary, from your whole mindset, your whole way of thinking and operating. So let's talk about what these men, what it looks like. What this Disneyland Dad, how do you break out of being the Disneyland Dad? I'll give you another example. I was at my daughter's birthday a couple years ago. I was at some horse farm thing. And they're getting ready to do horseback riding, and my wife is doing the decorations and the setups, and a bunch of the mothers show up early, show up on time with their daughters. And somehow I'm the one there greeting them because me, Mr. fucking people person, Mr. Social Butterfly, is there greeting all these moms and their daughters coming to do horseback riding. And so I'm sitting there talking to them. I don't have much to talk about with them. So somehow the project, the men's personal development program that we run, comes up. And that's in person, not the online. Like the online coaching program is a Freak Father Alliance. That's a men's mentorship online coaching group that we have. But the project is an in-person thing that we do, a 4-day event. And one of them says, oh, you do the project, right? I've seen some of those pictures on social media. That looks intense. That looks crazy. And she asked me a couple questions about it, and I'm just answering it. Perfect. I can have that kind of conversation. And another woman cuts her off and says, oh my God, yeah, I've seen that. Oh, my husband, he wouldn't last 60 seconds. He would cry like a little baby and quit and ring the bell. He wouldn't last not even 1 minute. And all the mothers and daughters all start laughing at this lady's husband, who she's still married to, her daughter's father, who's supposed to be her knight in shining armor, who she looks up to, the type of man she's supposed to want to marry, and they're all laughing. We're talking 10, 11 women and their daughters, all laughing at this woman's husband because he's a Disneyland dad, that he would quit and cry and wouldn't last 60 seconds, and they think it's fucking funny. And this is modern day. This isn't Homer Simpson. This isn't a fucking cartoon. This is literally some little girl's father. Think about that. Saying he would cry like a little baby and he wouldn't last 60 minutes and he would quit. Like just seeing their husbands as quitters. So men, when you're sitting there and you think, oh, my wife tells me she loves me just the way I am. She's lying to you, brother. She is lying, homie. She does not like those bitch tits. She does not like that dick do you got there, that gut. What's a dick do? I learned a dick do from my man Shelton in the Marine Corps. One of the instructors came around, we had no shirts on, and he sees his gut, his belly, and he pokes him in the belly, and he said, "What the fuck is that, Shelton?" And he said, "Well, that's my dick do, sir." He said, "Well, what the hell's a dick do?" He said, "That's when your guts stick out farther than your dick do." And ever since then, when he poked him in the stomach, he had to make little Pillsbury Doughboy sound. So she does not like you the way you are. And when your son is looking at you and you're sitting your fat ass on the couch with your little dick do and your bitch tits, he's not looking at you like, "Oh, wow, that's my dad. I want to be just like my dad. I hope I look just like her, him, when I grow up." He's not doing it, brother. He's thinking, "I want to be nothing like that motherfucker. I hope that it's not even my real dad at this point, because if that's what I have to look forward to, I am fucked." That's what your son is thinking about you when you're a Disneyland dad. So don't be that dude. Don't be that dude. And this starts with you. This starts at you controlling, having discipline, controlling your habits. We go over that, watch all the previous episodes where we go into all the different things about your discipline, your morning routine, your workouts, and nutrition. All that stuff will help you break out of this Disneyland dad mode, because this isn't just to talk shit. This is just to open your fucking eyes so you could stop being that dude, that Disneyland dad fucking dick do. That's what this is all about, is to have you start creating memorable experiences with your kids at Disneyland or whatever you're doing, where they're actually going to remember it as a positive experience, not some horrible freaking nightmare that they were going through. Because that is the meaning of freaking life, having kids. That is your purpose. That should be your purpose. And again, I can't stand those men that have kids that can't find their purpose. They can't find their way. They're lost and confused. Can't freaking stand it. It's fucking pathetic. You should be operating with the role model mindset, where you're the type of man whose son wants to become, the type of man your daughter would want to marry, the type of man your wife can respect and look up to and look and feel safe around. Not that soft, fat, weak, lazy gut tits. Hell no. And they even have names for it, and they think it's cool. The bod dad, the dad bod, whatever the fuck it's called. Fucking stupid. It's just lazy and no respect, that it just turned into a joke. They don't want to be like you. They don't want to look at you. You're not meant to be fucking soft. You're not meant to be weak. You're not meant to be asking for permission. Listen, homie, your wife doesn't want another son. She wants a husband. She wants a man. She wants a leader. She's not looking for another son. That's what you need to be thinking of. You are meant to be the one, not the Disneyland dad. You are meant to be the one that everyone turns to, the everyone that looks to for help, for guidance, for support, for a role model figure. That's what they're looking to. That's the opposite of the Disneyland dad. And it's time to get your house in order. And we say get your house in order, I mean your house, yourself, your physical body, your mindset. And then your actual house that you live in, getting that shit together after you get your own shit together, because you can't get them together until you get your own shit together. Deep, deep shit. And again, you need to earn this freaking title every day. You need to have this role of a role model mindset with these high standards, high expectations of other people, but of yourself first. You can't have these high standards and expectations of other people if you're walking around looking like a bag of shit. You were built for this. You were built to be strong. You were created to create. You were built to be tough and have mental toughness and to be able to endure and to lead and to carry the load. Not to be afraid to take off your shirt at the fucking beach. It's bad enough the amount of families and amount of homes in this world, and especially in this country, that don't have a father present. Almost the only thing worse than that is having a father present that's not motherfucking present, that's in attendance but not present. That's the absentee freaking dad right there. That is the Disneyland dad. And it's a fucking shame, and you need to get your shit together. This is when you are the passive-aggressive, approval-seeking, complaining, blaming, excuse-making, bitch-ass motherfucker. Where you're just hiding out and half-assing everything, bullshitting everywhere in your life, lying to yourself and everyone around you about who you are and what you're capable of and what you stand for, because you don't even know who the fuck you are or what you're capable of or what your potential is. You're lying to everyone around you, especially lying to your fucking self, because you're validating it for yourself instead of being that freaking role model and walking around like Homer Simpson. And what's another one? That mall cop, Paul Blart, the mall cop. Yeah, sometimes they could be a real nice guy. But Mr. Nice Guy, as you know, if you ever read the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, I'll even go into a quick, deep description of what, from that book, what a Mr. Nice Guy is. That's really, a Disneyland dad is partially that Mr. Nice Guy, but partially also that lying, freaking excuse-making little bitch. Like, doesn't mean you're a really bad dude overall. Paul Blart wasn't a bad dude, but he was a fucking doof. He was fat and unhealthy and out of shape. Yeah, probably a nice guy. Shit. Look at I'm going to give you the ultimate version of a Disneyland dad. You ready? It's going to blow your fucking mind. You ready, Tyson? Well, this is kind of like Fight Club. I shouldn't talk about this too much because Tyson still might believe in Santa Claus. Fucking Santa Claus. Think about it. He is Mr. Nice Guy, holly jolly, but he's just a fat fucking dude. Out of shape. He ain't coming down to a fucking chimney because he can't fit. The fat ass will get stuck. And he's always this jolly, fucking fat, happy dude. But he's hiding some shit in there. He can't be that happy because he's so unhealthy and out of shape. To me, just flashes in that's a look of a Homer Simpson and freaking Santa Claus and Al Bundy and Paul Blart. Like those, you can go on. I'm sure there's tons more. The father that I said from that Sheldon show. These characters demonstrate weak, soft, negative. Well, Santa Claus ain't negative, but in general, weak, soft, negative father figures. That lack assertiveness. They have the inability to set boundaries and guardrails in their life. They're just pessimistic, negative motherfuckers. Just always the victim, always with this defeatist freaking attitude. They're always overly passive aggressive. They're indecisive. When they do make a decision, they flip-flop and they'll just go with the wind. They're just yes men, approval-seeking little bitches. Always avoiding any kind of responsibility. Lacking motivation or fucking fire or passion in their life. Definitely, since they're lacking it themselves, are unable to give a good amount of guidance and quality support to their children because they can't even do it themselves. They just sit and they're a victim and dwell on their own failures and negativity. Pessimistic. It's Mr. Nice Guy. Part of Mr. Nice Guy is part of who the Disneyland dad is. In the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, there's a section with a bunch of bullet points in the very beginning, kinds of breaks down what is a Mr. Nice Guy? Here's what a Mr. Nice Guy is, which coincides with this Disneyland dad we're talking about, because Mr. Nice Guy isn't necessarily a dad, but the Disneyland dad is usually also Mr. Nice Guy who just lets his wife run the show, make the decisions, get permission for stuff, avoids conflict, afraid of conflict, afraid to give feedback, afraid to ask for feedback. Only tells people what they want to hear, never tells people what they fucking need to hear. Lets people just walk all over them because they don't want to rock the boat or they don't want to hurt anyone's fucking feelings. They're just always hiding their real self. They're hiding who the fuck they are. They're hiding their fuck ups and failures and their flaws. and they'll cover it up to the death. They will lie, cheat, and steal to cover up who the fuck they are. They will suffer in silence and hold it in and build it in and repress their emotions and have zero emotional discipline, zero mental toughness. And they'll explode at the wrong time. Like Walt in that show when he turns into Heisenberg. Like Fight Club. What the hell is the show? Breaking Bad. Fucking losing my memory. Holy shit. In that show, I just say. In Breaking Bad. And in Fight Club, the same thing. It's just built up so much inside of them. Whatever it is, built up from the past, from the boohoo, poor little me, little childhood, or the daddy issues that they had, and the alcohol and drugs or previous past, whatever it is. They're never putting themselves first, never making their needs a freaking priority. They're just bullshitters and half-assing everything in fucking life. That's a Disneyland dad who's also is Mr. Nice Guy. They're manipulative and controlling. They're passive-aggressive, and they have so much anger and hate and resentment and fucking jealousy built up inside of them. It just builds up and boils up, and they're never themselves. They hide that and hide it in some dark room because they think that they can't show them real selves. They can't be them real selves. And that's why they have poor relationships with their family. That's why their daughter's fucking ice cream cone is dripping down her fucking arm in the middle of Disneyland. That's why they have poor relationships. But they act like everything's fine. They will lie to themselves like, oh, everything is fine because I took my daughter to Disneyland. Or I pay the bills. Everything's fine. When really everything around you is fucking falling apart because there's poor communication involved. They're poor leaders. They're poor bosses. They have no sense of who the fuck they are, what they stand for. They usually don't stand for really anything. Whatever they do, they're afraid to say what they stand for. They don't acknowledge their weaknesses. They lie about their strengths. They take zero fucking responsibility and accountability. The masculinity they have is fucking fake and forced. That's not a fucking father. That's not a man. That's a Disneyland dad. That's a Mr. Nice Guy. That's a lack of integrity. That's a lack of doing the right thing, even if it's the unpopular thing to do. That's a lack of courage. That's a poor leader. That's what a Disneyland dad is. So I'm here to say now it's time, if any of this is you and any of this is resonating, to break free from this fucking shell that you've been tying yourself in. Time to put on the big boy pants and start living your fucking life, not this fake, bullshitting, half-assing life. It's time to be brutally fucking honest with yourself. Go deep and dark and dirty as you're thinking about this and ask yourself, where am I half-assing in life? Where am I bullshitting myself? Where am I lying to myself about who the fuck I am and what I stand for? Where am I bullshitting and what am I going to do starting this year, this week, starting right motherfucking now, today, to stop bullshitting and stop being this bitch-ass Disneyland dad? What am I going to do right now to break out of this shell and start changing the trajectory of my life? Because the direction it's going and there is zero happiness, zero fucking fulfillment, poor relationships. The time is now, motherfucker, to snap the hell out of it and start doing these other things. And how do you do it? We can sit here all day and talk about how to do it. You really need to watch the previous episodes. The previous episodes of the Steve Eckert Show will show you exactly what you need to do. Go back and look at the Freak Father episode. Go back and look at the episode about creating your ideal lifestyle, about living life on your own terms, being your freak self. Go check those out because this Disneyland dad shit ain't working. Motherfuckers can see right through it. We know you're bullshitting. We know you're half-assing. And more importantly, you fucking know it. So stop denying it. Break free from this shell. Reach out if you need any help. If you need help figuring out how to do it, if you need someone who's going to be that asshole you need in your life, send me a message. Let's talk about the Freak Father Alliance, the men's mentorship program, where we dive deep and dark into your mindset, your muscles, your money, your mastery, your mission, and most importantly, your meaning behind it all. And we will break free from these self-imposed shackles that you put on yourself and break free from that plastic, invisible ceiling that you think is above your head. We're going to break those chains of the Disneyland dad and turn you into the fucking man that you know you are meant to be and you're capable of. And then you'll start noticing all kinds of opportunities and potential and possibilities and breakthroughs happening every fucking day when you stop being the Disneyland dad. Put it down below. Let me know what you think about the Disneyland dad. What are some other traits? Actually, I want to hear what are some other examples in movies and TV that you can think of who are the Disneyland Dad. And if you could think of any positive male role model father figures in movies or TV, I also want to hear about those too, because I couldn't find any. So put that down below. Tell me what you're going to start doing today to break out of the shackles, break free from the Disneyland Dad, freaking destruction, dick do bitch tits life that you're living. What are you going to start doing today? Put it down there in the comments. And I will see you next time on the Steve Eckert Show. And in case no one told you yet today, as long as you stop being a Disneyland Dad, you are fucking awesome. No excuses.